Hey coaches, it's a week 2 of our online class series here for the rest of the semester with coaching young athletes. And we're going to be covering the last section of the book, of the textbook, part 5. And we're also going to be doing a demo, your last sort of mini demo. But this is a demo that's going to help us get you ready for your larger demo, because you're going to do your demo via video that you will upload to a YouTube or Vimeo or something similar to that and email me the link. So I did post the demo outline guideline on Moodle, so you can take a look at it, and you will see that you are responsible for teaching a strength and conditioning drill of some kind. I put this in the I put this little caveat in the assignment sheet, or on the assignment sheet, but I'm going to say it to you here too, as well, that I do not expect you to have people in the video. Maybe if you have people at home that are willing to help you, you could use them as people to help demonstrate. But I'm not expecting you to have people in the video. So if you don't have anybody in the video except for yourself, perfectly fine. Um, I am not expecting you to be at a gym or on a court or anywhere that any spaces you're not allowed to be in currently right now. But if you have a way to be in a space, like if you live somewhere where they're allowing you to be in those kinds of spaces, great. Being outside is awesome. I think one of the things to remember when you're outside is the audio quality of your video. So make sure that you are aware that of what the audio quality is, that you can hear well and everything. So, realize I am aware of the restrictions that we all have placed on us, and so that might create some issues with you doing this particular activity. But again, I'm not expecting you to do anything that are outside your abilities. But I still think that you can, by you demonstrating and you giving the instructions, you're able to do a video that shows and demonstrates a strength and conditioning drill. Now, you have a 5-minute limit, probably because we don't have people going through the drill and being able to demonstrate as a group or go through it as a group. You may not need 5 minutes, but you should make sure you fully demonstrate and then talk about like the reps that you would need. If you want to do a couple of exercises that are in like a set of exercises, you could do that as well and demonstrate all the different exercises and show how you would go through a little circuit or a set of those exercises. So that would be a good way to do it as well. So you're welcome to use as much of those 5 minutes as possible, but you don't have to use 5 total minutes. So just so you know that time frame is a little adjustable because of the situation we have with not having anybody live to do the drill for you or with you. So that's going to be due to me via email next Tuesday, April 7th. So you have to video it, you need to upload it online. That creates a web link, and then you email that web link to me. So like I said, YouTube or Vimeo are the easiest and free options. And so, if you have never done it before, it's not really that difficult to do. But if you're really struggling, let me know and I'll try to walk you through it. I personally use YouTube, as you see, like all these video lectures come through YouTube. So I can help you if you need help. But literally, I just went on and figured it out myself. So I feel as though you guys would be capable of doing that as well. But I'm not trying to minimize if you are having issues with it. Just shoot me a message and we'll work through it. So you have that due next Tuesday. Also, you have 2 other things due by next Tuesday. That is your reflection questions for Chapter 5. I'm sorry, Part 5, which are posted on Moodle. And just like all the other reflections, once you finish those, you post them on that assignment link. And then you have a worksheet, sort of, so to speak, on management topics, how you manage your team based on this part of the text. It's a lot. It's a lot to think about and consider. So that's due next Tuesday also. But it's also very important stuff to sit down and think about because it's all stuff you're responsible for. And that's where it can start to feel overwhelming as a coach that you're responsible for all these things. But if you don't take time to sit down and think about them, even just um, preliminarily, like you're going to do here with this exercise that I've given you to work on, you're going to find yourself really frustrated and just overwhelmed when you become a coach of your own team, or even an assistant coach of a program, if you're not ready to manage and handle these responsibilities to some degree. You will always, with everything that you've been doing in this class in preparation to coach, you will always tweak and change and adapt accordingly. But with a management system of all the information and stuff that you're responsible for as a coach, you're going to want some kind of baseline foundational process, or ways to think about navigating that stuff, because it will just make things much less stressful for you when you first go through kind of a cycle of a season and all the different things that you will interact with. So, speaking of that assignment, that's kind of the first chapter of this part 5, is the management roles that you fulfill as a coach. I mean, you're a policy manager, information, personnel manager, an instructional manager, event and contest manager, logistics manager, and financial manager. So, there's 7 areas total that you are responsible for as a manager. Your book goes through each of those sections, and in the PowerPoint that I have posted, I kind of give a brief guideline or overview of what those areas are. And it's really important to think about not only what each area content is, right? Like policy has to do with your own program policies, but also and how you enforce them and how you manage them and all of that. But also like your conference policies, your school policies, the national policies, national governing governance policies. So if you are in coaching high school league and you need high school level, you need to know your conference rules and your high school league restrictions or rules and policies. So knowing all of that information is important, but not just the content of each of these areas, but thinking about what you do to manage them during the season, before the season starts, preseason, and after the season is over in the off season, postseason. So those are the things I want you thinking about when you're thinking through managing all these areas. Is what are you doing the different times of the year, um, in these areas, because some of them you shouldn't really focus a lot of your attention or spend a lot of time on in season. You should be doing more of the work in and out of season, the before or after, and some of the things you're going to be spending a lot of time in season, right? So policy, obviously all rules and guidelines and all of that kind of behavior that you want to monitor. Information is creating information systems and how you're going to collect and store information on the team. You know, any kind of um, any kind of information, right? Like athlete information, any support personnel information, practice and training plans, all of the things that you kind of keep track of is information, or that you do is information that you want to keep track of, um, to be able to reference in the future. Like I always kept my 2 previous season practice schedules, because sometimes I would be like, what were we doing, mid-season last year as drills that maybe were exciting or competitive or worked on a certain aspect of the game. And I was able to go back and look, like, similar timing in previous seasons, what were some of the things we were doing, and it would remind me like, oh yeah, like those were good drills that we were doing, the team liked them. Or even just, what were some of the goals we had set at that time of the season last year in certain drills or whatever, so you're able to like reference those things. So the information manager is a lot of stuff to think about keeping organized. Um, you should obviously think about personnel. How do you manage and keep track of your staff, and I'm not talking about just your coaching staff, but anybody you interact with, right? So, a certified athletic trainer, nutritionist, a strength and conditioning coach, even your administrators, right, that you are responsible to communicate with on a regular basis, your game day managers, whoever you have regular contact with, you should definitely have a way to organize that information, um, and then also how you evaluate them and make sure that you're keeping track of that evaluation system. You want to be able to manage and have good control over your instructional information. Um, this has changed a lot since the era that I coached, because we did a lot of things. We bought a lot of instructional books. We subscribed to magazines that had a lot of instructional ideas. Obviously, watched DVDs, a lot of DVDs on coaches providing instructional ideas. For you, you can jump online now and do a lot of that, and this is actually what you'll do much of to help you prepare for your final coaching demo. And so, it's just different, but it's important to think about how you organize and keep track of the stuff that you are using to help you as a coach develop and learn about how to teach and instruct your sport. Also, you should have information. You should control information on your event and competitions, how you run your game day events, how you manage any kind of away competitions. It's good to keep track of places you've stayed or places you've used when you're on the road, whether that's good hotel accommodations or good restaurants to use, people you maybe want to continue to support when you go to different locations, in terms of local merchants or vendors or whatever. Those are good things to keep track of. So just all the information that has to do with game day, whether it's on the road or home, is important. Also, logistics are important. How do you track all of your stuff, all of your equipment? When do you need to be on a cycle to purchase new things? That's important to track. How about cleaning and managing your facility? Those are things that want to make sure that we're taking care of, and that should be on a regular rotation for caring for and making sure everything is safe and kept up to date. Um, Also, then of course you're going to have to manage your financial status. So no matter what you do as a coach, you have to spend money, or you'll be responsible for the money that's given to you to spend, right? So it's important that you have a good system for how you're going to manage your financials. So, all of those areas you're going to be thinking about in this assignment. Your book goes into them, and excuse me, sorry, and in more detail than the PowerPoint or even my quick sort of overview does here. And so it's going to help you just think about, what kind of system are you going to put in place for managing these things. Are there apps? Are there computer programs that help you track these things best? Again, just kind of thinking about when I went through my time as a coach. We went from, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about this in class, but we went from, going out and having to watch live people play to scout them, to doing video exchange, VCR, videotape exchange, to DVD exchange, to now online. And not only all of that, but having to splice and cut your own film, to now having systems in place online that splice and cut video for you, and also electronic or computer programs that do scouting reports for you as well. So everything is, there's lots of different programs out there, computer programs out there that track and um, um, help you maintain and manage your information in different aspects of your sport. And so, while I know the things out there for basketball pretty well, I don't know things for other sports like soccer and swimming and tennis and golf. But there's got to be things for all sports out there, because it's quite a market to have all these technological advancements in how we train and organize and prepare our athletes for competition. So with all that and managing all that, you have to think about how you manage your time. You want to make sure that you're understanding what takes time, and this is something you're gonna learn as you go through coaching, is like what takes more of your time versus things that don't take as much of your time or takes less of your time. So it's important that you understand that you don't rely on mythical time, right? That you don't squander real time that you actually have available, and think that there's some other time that's going to exist or be created for you that you can use. Um, that you don't underestimate the demands of your time. It's really hard to know what to expect when the unexpected happens a lot in the coaching profession. So you have to understand that a lot of these areas of management, information management, take time, and you don't want to shortchange yourself in being organized, but also recognize that you will have things that will pop up that you're not expecting or prepared for, that you have to be ready for. So there's going to be other things that will demand your time that you're not going to be ready, that you're not going to realize are going to exist. And again, as you coach more, you're going to understand what some of those things that might um, come up. And with that, thinking about task creeping, you don't really want to be working on something and then start doing a new task before that other task is done, and all of a sudden you're managing more than one thing. Maybe you're a good multitasker, which is great, but making sure that when you are a multitasker, that you are still completing things and making sure that things that should be prioritized are prioritized and getting done before you go on to too many other things, which also has to do with task hopping, because if you jump from one task to another and you're doing too much of that, typically you're not doing any one thing really well. So you want to make sure that you're not overdoing it there. And then don't avoid or ignore reality. You know, there are just some things that you're going to have limitations on, um, and so don't overextend yourself, because you're going to adversely affect your productivity, but also you're going to impact the people around you, your athletes in particular, their family lives, their parents or their guardians or whoever takes care of them. And then you're going to impact the people like just in your personal life as well. So if you ignore like the reality of time and how time is going to impact you as a coach. Remember that coaching is a lifestyle, right? It is a way of life. It's, yes, you could call it a job, I guess, but it is ingrained in your life because it is pretty consuming at every level. And so, obviously, more consuming depending on certain aspects that you might go into, youth, college, professional, but it is quite demanding, and you probably will. If you talk to any coach, they would talk to you about the time commitment that it really takes. And the earlier you are in your profession, the more time it takes, because you're learning so many things about how time really actually exists in the coaching world. So it is just different. You experience it differently, because there's so many unknowns and things that pop up. You can't be ready for them. So while you think you have a good system in place to control and manage some things, there's lots of things that can influence and impact that may um, that may change how you would manage those things perfectly or ideally. So this is a that and this in of itself is a big reason why having some system in place for managing all these areas and having a foundation set by thinking about how you're going to manage these things is critically important, because you don't want to be unsure or be completely unorganized or have things just mumble jumbled when you're trying to manage things that you're unexpecting, right? So that are unexpected. So, have the things that you can control and have regularly organized and clearly stated and clearly outlined set, and try to keep those in control as best you can, so that you can manage and help yourself with those things that pop up that are not as easy to manage for yourself. This is the first of three videos for this class week. I wanted to chop them up into a little bit shorter segments, So I'm doing each chapter as an individual video, so you can take time to watch each one as you go through. So this is the first of the three for this week. That was all on managing information. Make sure that you do that exercise or that exercise or assignment that's due next Tuesday. It's posted in Moodle, and you just re-upload it right back up to Moodle. So when you're done with it. All right. So I'll see you at the next chapter. Thanks.